But what do you think when something like a Nirav Modi happens? Then entire industry's trust factor takes beating.
During that period, right, is where trust was the
What
lowest.
was at the lowest?
Which is where, when Tanishq and all came in at that time, they were able to seriously gain traction at that time. But that was the core need of the in that they are.
How do lab-grown diamonds contribute to sustainability when you compare it to a mine-grown diamond?
I don't remember these numbers, but there's some significant numbers. The amount of, I think, about 230 tons of earth that is extracted to generate 1 carat of a diamond.
1 carat?
So I think we ended up being sexist, racist, narcissistic. At one point, I feel I played a gay character. Then at one point, someone was a stripper. We just went wild.
If you could give any historical figure or a celebrity a true diamond piece, who would it be and why?
Some call her a celebrity, some call her an entrepreneur. But she's someone that definitely knows what women want, understands that, and is extremely passionate about it. And that's Arun Gulab.
How is lab-grown diamond made? What is the process that goes behind it? Can you explain that?
Sure. So there are two processes. There's one that's called HPHT and there's one that's called CVD. Now, HPHT is a lot more prevalent in China. CVD is the predominant technology in India. HPHT is high pressure, high temperature, and CVD is chemical vapor deposition. So the way this works in India is you take a slowly thin slice of carbon, original carbon containment, and you put it into a big reactor, and then it is blasted with hydrocarbons, which over a period of time becomes bigger and bigger. Because it takes usually, I think, approximately 4 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, for a big enough seed to form. And that's a rough. That rough is then processed exactly the way a regular natural diamond is processed. So cutting, polishing, which anyway, I think 90% of all the cutting process.
What is this key ingredient that is carbon?
Oh, it's just carbon. And in fact, CVD will give you type 2A diamonds. Type 2A are those diamonds which are the highest and purest quality. Is what the Kohinoor is also made of, which has no impurities. There's no nitrogen, there's none of that.
So that 99.99% purity thing up is what they was 100% cup.
Yeah. Now with CVD, you can control that, as you can make sure that what you're blasting that seed with is 100% pure hydrocarbons, and the carbon just deposits on top of each other over really high temperature and pressure, and then you get that seed. So it's the same environment that happens 150 kilometers below the Earth's surface is now recreated in a lab. Exact same process, it's just mimicked in a lab.
Why is it then, as an investment, right? If I have to look diamond as an investment, why is it that the investment value is decreasing of a CVD diamond and, of a natural diamond, it is growing? And why do people don't look at it as an investment and they're looking at it as, okay, it's a purchase, we can wear it and we can buy more of it? The Gen Zs of the world, right? Why is that happening?
So actually, I think that's not happening anymore at all. As there, people are not looking at diamonds, natural or lab-grown as an investment. I think they're now appreciating that, hey, this is a luxury item. It's like buying a car or it's like buying an iPhone. I'm going to spend on something that I really enjoy, the sparkle, which is unmatched, and appreciate it and enjoy it, and over a period of time know that it might not hold the same value, but I can always go back and exchange it if I need to and get something else.
Okay.
So it's treated like that, natural or lab grown. And I think what's happened is a lot of education has now floated around the thread around this. In fact, even natural diamonds and lab grown, recently, if you look at wholesale prices, people say that their prices have dropped significantly. Natural as well. And so therefore, if you were to go and try and sell your natural diamond today, you may not get an appreciated value. Historically, you will always think that it has, they are really luxuries. Yeah, that's not really necessarily the case. There are some diamonds which are very, very rare. The ones which likely get sold at Sotheby's or get auctioned. Those will always get cold value because of rarity.
Even the natural one, you're sweet.
In natural, yeah. In natural ones, is specific. Okay, those will still hold value. But your relatively common diamonds now, the say small sizes or even a 1 carat, they haven't truly appreciated in value in the last year or so. So if you bought something 10 years ago and you wanted to sell it now, you wouldn't actually get a serious appreciated value. And therefore, this education has really increased on it's not an investment. You want to invest in something, have mutual funds to invest in. But this is part of the really nice, beautiful luxury assets.
But still, don't you think there are so many women especially, and maybe not the Gen Zs, but our moms, aunties, etc., they would prefer a natural diamond or a natural stone because they take it very emotionally and to the heart that this is an investment. This is something that you're chilling. I want to flaunt it as a natural. ऐसा नहीं दिखना चाहिए कि भाई वो lab grown वाला है. Maybe as a societal thing or as a personal thing.
No, absolutely. This is years and years of marketing that has ingrained that perception of idea. So it's in the blood. And that's great, right? That's also completely fair and fine. And we value that, right? So that's where the value comes from in owning something. So some of the BBVers, the slightly older generation kind of still prefers natural diamonds. The slightly more younger generation has started to adopt lacquered or more. For us, both work. Also, we are very happy to offer both, whatever the customer wants. And they both have its own place and its own value to each customer.
Got it. Got it. When you were, scaling, what were the challenges that you faced and how were they different from when you were starting up?
Okay, so I come from an online brand building world. So does Parin Chloric said we've done a lot of work in building brands online. I've launched maybe 2-3 brands in my career online or scaled an online pad. When we launched this business, we said we're going to only work online. Can we try and sell a product whose average order value is 1 lakh? Online, which has trust issues, diamond industry, which has trust issues, buy a new brand, which has trust issues. Can we overcome all these hurdles? But when we launched, that's exactly what we did. We only sold online. We had no offline presence. We just had really...
Was this?
This was January of 24.
Okay.
So we only
Pure online brand.
purely online. And I think because there was some relative know-how in the online space, we were able to execute that slightly better. So we were able to scale that pretty well, I would say, and profitably in the first year of business itself, with least investments in stock and inventory and offline and things like that. That was...
And online, you don't need to hold that much inventory.
We had zero. It was all virtual inventory. We would take an advance from a customer and then process it. So the whole cash flow was also managed. It's a beautiful business. Actually, we missed those days. But then, of course, what we realized is very quickly, those days, most jewelers who were selling natural diamonds, they were all against lab. I think what happened is mid through the year, they realized that they can't do that because the consumer demand is so high, they're losing customers. So suddenly they all officially or unofficially started to offer it. They didn't have a choice, right? They had to.
So
suddenly competition did not just double or triple. It just made that 10,000 or 1 million is jeweler. Suddenly everyone was doing it. And now if your local jeweler is going to offer it to you, why would you trust an online brand that you can still not heard before and all of that, right? So the hurdle became harder and harder to then overcome. At that time, we then launched one offline boutique. And in that, we realized started to really help in conversion significantly. And as time passed, we realized that our ability to purely scale online became harder and harder, given how competition was also expanding. We had to go offline. So that's also been one of the largest challenges because offline retail efficiency is a very different ball game compared to trying to build an online brand. And everyone wants to today build an omni-channel brand. It's very easy to say, to actually execute that is where the real challenge is.
And retail is very, very tricky. It's challenging. A lot of inventory issues, I believe.
And all said and done, me and Parin come from building some seriously nice brands online, some experience in building brands offline, but it's not our core inherent strength, right? So we had a learning curve here, to be very honest. And hence we took it also slower. We wanted to really launch one store, get it right before we...
Yeah, take enter that store and go, So yeah, narrow it down more.
Correct. So like we raised our first round, it was the end of 24, but at that time we didn't expand very fast. We actually experimented with 3 different models. We had a boutique. We then chose to launch one store, classic store in the ground floor of a mall, and one shop-in-shop. We said, what, can we think about different ways of disrupting the retail experience as well for a consumer? Is there something new that we can innovate here? It's a very cluttered and competitive space there. So we took a lot of time to kind of get those 3 live and learn from each of them. What are the pros, cons, and before we were to choose to expand further. So that whole learning curve, I think, was... change. It's a very different way of functioning, right? The focus moves from 100% online to maybe today also online is still our core, 50% online, but still...
At least online, eventually as a brand grows and progresses. What I've seen in the journey of working with brands and startups, is that online then becomes a medium where you spread the awareness and where a customer finds you. But eventually, for trust, for specifically for your kind of a product, which is high value, high order value, etc., that feel good factor, yeah, touch, that personal connection needs to be built, which can happen only offline. So correct. And then the repeat rate can increase offline where they keep coming to that store. Or then they might purchase it online because now, yes, it trust better.
You know, what you're saying is also absolutely right. And this is also what we are facing, right? So our discovery is yet online, consideration and final conversion is yet now happening offline. Yeah. But hey, we knew this even earlier. Okay. This also means that then therefore the brand that will become the largest is the brand with the deepest pockets. Because offline is a very like capital intensive game. Uh, and that doesn't sound so we're still looking at the right find the right balance there because otherwise it's just a pure money game and
As our story follow, yeah, so
and
it's a churn. Keep on doing that.
and we're seeing this being executed right with some other
Yeah,
players.
also but then doing that.
Correct. So we're not so happy with that. We don't think that there has to be a sweet spot where the brand pull is so significant, where our per store throughput is so high compared to others, and that is a much more important metric to kind of chase, right? Versus number of outlets and therefore
I think the same store sales growth, like realizes we used, is the most important in any store-based, any retail-based company. That is, I think, immensely important metric, which I don't think the store, I mean, the brands, consumer brands were built or raise massive funds, just opening stores. I mean, 2 years down the line, they see probably the same store sales growth is negligible, and they'll have to then start shutting. So that
absolutely.
that will happen.
So one of the big questions that we ask internally is, if there are 30 brands right next to each other, if I'm a consumer, why should I enter brand A versus brand B? Until that answer is very sharply defined, we actually should not expand further. Very brand should not actually expand further. This is our thought process. So we really try to put a lot of effort into differentiating, the brand. That's what I think.
Can you give some example? How did you differentiate your brand vis-a-vis some other company, other or your startup?
Yeah, sure. So
Any marketing campaign or anything that you guys have done separately, differently?
yeah, so I think about three things. The first one is, of course, the core, right? In our case, jewelry is all about having something new and experimentative as well. It's all about something. Because innovation becomes prime, right? In our case, we were very clear that every month or max every 2 months, we want not just a design innovation. Design innovation is very easy. I will show you design. There are a million designs today. It's
So Instagram पे कितने मिल जाते हैं? You open Instagram, you create a
over there. We are made this right. So more than a design innovation, we've always wanted to have some kind of a concept innovation or something slightly larger. Like in our case, for example, Portuguese cut, that was an innovation. Titanium is a user. So to go new innovation, black diamonds is not so common, right? But that's another innovation. Or champagne colored gold is not a regular bowl. It's not yellow. It's not rose. It's exactly in the middle, and it's champagne on our own. And that's again is a concept innovation. So like this, we wanted to every 2 months or
there's a different concept, different theme coming out rather than just a design.
absolutely. So the first one was innovation is the first, and it's all about execution of this. The second one was that we wanted to really narrow our focus and not stand for everything, and that helps when a consumer's mind also they know what the brand stands for, and hence our really serious focus towards rings. And rings is India's largest jewelry category and सबसे emotional भी. And still, there is no legacy brand that owns this space. So we said, can we be one of those brands that really owns rings from small, dainty to real sequin pieces, cocktail rings to solitaire rings start to end. You know that before I buy a ring, I should at least visit this brand. So it's a category focus. And third, and what we find as most important and most interesting also, is just this brand world that we're creating. The brand needs to have a soul. What I told you was, innovative brand and it stands for a category with what is the brand standing for? But what's the meat? What's the soul of the brand? And that comes through, in our case, online content. And the content area and our focus towards content, I think, is very, very high compared to most other players that we know. Most brands, they come from a jewelry background, so they focus on offline because that's how jewelry is sold. The online, or rather just the brand building of it is very traditional in that sense. I'll give you an example. Most jewelry brands today, you will see every ad which has a beautiful model. You have classical music. You will have she'll be dressed really beautifully, and she'll be doing this, and she'll be doing, and there'll be words like timeless and elegance and tradition and classic. We realize the minute the word cloud, the word elegance and timeless features in every serial ad. Listen, the word cloud is so big, timeless and elegance and classic. So we in fact took a call. We said, you know what, we're never going to use those words anywhere in our website, for example. Even if you want to say it's not timeless design, we're not going to say timeless. We're not going to do that. Second, we're not going to have classic jewelry ads like that. Even people online, they hate ads. And you see those beautifully produced ads, they don't do well. So we've created, again, it happened through a lot of trial and error, but we ended up now creating a micro series format of content. I think one of the first. Now we see a lot of brands doing this micro series. We're inspired by
What is this micro series about?
so it's content that is relatable. It's fun. It started off. I'll tell you how. We were having a chat with a few friends and freelancers about doing something together. At that time, they were very small. It was me along with one intern in marketing. So it was early back in those days. And they saw this, and together they said, you know what, Brooklyn Coffee House, if you've seen the way that operates, they saw a whole drama series between a founder and his apprentice taking on customers and the work. Okay. And from there, the team ended up, sketching different episodes of what that content would be like. So the first episode is an introduction of how these two met. Second one is maybe the founder's evil twin brother enters the store. The third one is the founder's ex-lover enters the store, and it's just crazy. The next one is you have an NRI Punjabi that enters the store, or you have a crazy bargaining auntie who walks, just different characters, different. So now you're engaging with this brand. We're not hard selling jewelry anymore, but we're engaging through content which is relatable, which is fun.
So you make content which is having these kind of characters coming in the store and talking to you and stuff like that.
And it's not normal. It's questionable content. We've done a lot of stuff. I think, I don't know, my family too they were ready to shut their eyes when they see this content. My wife has been very supportive because it's been the stuff we do over there. So I think we ended up being sexist, racist, narcissistic. At one point, I played a gay character. Then at one point, someone was a stripper. We just went wild. But it was fun, and it was, I think, everything very tastefully done and really been appreciated. And consumers connect. Now there's a brand that's maybe doing something different. There's a brand that is building on a fantasy, and it's fun and playful, and that's what jewelry is, right? So you want to engage with, characters like that. So innovations, I think, are very sharp focus on one category ownership, and eventually we want to know a brand that is bold, edgy, and fun to content.
So one thing is, of course, you are engaging them with the content. You are building your awareness, online. The second part, which is before the conversion also happens to a customer, is also gaining their trust. Yeah. Again, specifically, it goes in all business without saying, but yours is a high value product business, right? So trust is a big factor. Or in your case, it becomes much bigger because there are so many other brands and legacy players there. If my wife wants to come, my wife's mom is going to say, "Nahi, beta, idhar se le lo." My mom is going to say, "Nahi, beta, ye apne chacha se le lo, idhar se le lo." So there's already a lot of competition in the family from where you're supposed to buy.
Yeah.
So that trust, how do you build that?
Okay, so two things. I think first, this industry is evolving very fast, where trust is now hygiene. It's not the primary reason to go to a brand. In the early days, right, when there was no hallmarking, when certification wasn't such a big thing, and when Tanish came up with that carat meter, etc., where they could really judge the gold purity, that was a game changer for them because suddenly, you can trust Pavish. They really played on trust, and that at that time was the biggest need of the hour. Suddenly, it's a very trusted Tata brand and all of that really worked. Today, trust is a basic. You have to have it, and you have to show it. And it's not that hard to actually convince a customer today because the government has taken such strict, brought in strict regulation. So every jewelry is now hallmarked with an HUID number. HUID number is a hallmark unique identification number. You can check where this jewelry came from, where was it hallmarked, which firm hallmarked it, etc. You can track everything, right? And we've had a case where I think once we had 17.98 carats got rejected because it's not 80. Oh, okay. So that's how strict they are. And that's great, that's great. So now hallmarking and gold purity now it is definitely government control. Diamonds are today all certified. And it's not just about what's written on the certificate. How do I know that the certificate I give you and the diamond I give you are the same? Today, on every girdle of a diamond, the certificate number is inscribed. So if I lose my certificate, I can look at you need a loop. I can look at the diamond, leave the number, sorry, put it into the IGI or GIA website, and I can get the whole specifications of the diamond. So even that is pretty secure. So what are the major areas of risk, right? Is that, I don't know, I take, you buy something from a brand today and I want to go and exchange it and the brand shuts down. That is a risk, so that you don't get to exchange it or whatever maybe. But that, of course, you have to overcome. I mean, it's a much lesser challenge to overcome than some of the other earlier bigger challenges. So trust actually, number one, is not as big as a driver, I think, today for consumers' purchase. Still, nonetheless, you still have to build it. So how do you build it? And that's multiple ways. One is, of course, really highlighting all this processes, certifications, all of that very, very openly, transparently. Offline expansion and retail does play a role in that. If I can tell a customer, hey, I have 50 stores across the country, it gives a lot more sense of trust. Even if I have say 5 stores, it helps. Saying no stores purely online creates that level of doubt. So that definitely helps. I think things today like Google reviews are underestimated. A Google review you cannot pull down. If someone puts a negative review, you want to complain, you cannot pull it down. And that's great. That is so powerful. People put reviews on their website, that's not as credible. But just a simple Google review is so powerful. So you want to just really powerful. Will trust. These are great avenues. Having offline offline retail, having Google reviews, those having we've also trained the team significantly on how do you engage with a customer, and how do you don't be pushy on sellers. You really just be their consultant and advisor, and that automatically builds trust.
Automatic based trust, yeah. Yeah. But what do you think when something like a Nirav Modi happens, then the entire industry's, trust factor takes, beating. Yeah. Then how do the players really come up? Then again they have to build that trust again, because the entire brand, one person who is a large player, and he's if he is sold something which is of 10 lakhs, correct, but their actual price was maybe a lakh. Yeah.
So when during that period, right, is where trust was at the lowest, which is where when your Tanishq and all came in at that time, they were able to seriously gain traction at that time. But that was the core need of in that day. I think today, because of just government certifications and authority and all of that, it's very hard for any of that to happen. Now, everything is very transparent. Most brands will have pricing that is transparent. There are still some brands I know that will not showcase pricing online. They will say, you come store pe aa jao, and they'll look at the customer and they'll know if I want to get him a 5% discount or a low discount or a 15% discount. That also does happen. But I think some of the modern brands and new age brands today, it's keeping it all transparent, saying, hey, this is our pricing, but we focus on jewelry. You like it, come and take it. So I think it's becoming a lot better now.
More seamless.
Yeah. In fact, a lot more transparent.
A lot more transparent. Correct. How do lab grown diamonds contribute to sustainability when you compare it to a mine grown diamond?
I don't remember these numbers, but there's some significant numbers. The amount of, I think it's about 230 tons of earth that is extracted to generate 1 carat of a diamond.
1 carat.
So imagine you're going to go 150 kilometers down, right? So you prevent significant amounts of birth excavation. Lots of water is used. You save a lot of water, greenhouse gases. There's a lot of mining costs and impacts of mining, which is obviously saved when you go into a lab. There's the whole. People would actually argue about blood diamonds and all of this. I don't think that's true. Blood diamonds are where in, say, Congo and in Africa, they would leverage a child labor and stuff to mine those diamonds. And
if somebody put them in the mine to...
Yeah, right. There's a lot of poverty and then they don't get much, and therefore they would call it kind of blood diamond. There's a lot of trade which was illegal there. And
there's a lot of mafia and all those things.
Yeah, no, exactly. True. However, to be very honest, I know people also in the natural diamond business, okay, who... Actually, what's happened is the lab guys will really go out and say, "Oh, the blood diamond hai," and try and give it a bad name. In fact, it's not as bad as that sounds. They do a lot of stuff for environmental upkeep, and they in fact make sure that once they mine something, they will plant that many trees. And now those companies also, they're responsible for doing all of that. So it's not as bad as, obviously the other side will make it out to be. It's a very unbiased opinion. However, nonetheless, compared to a natural diamond, a lab diamond will be more sustainable. Mind you, lab diamonds are not sustainable. To be truly sustainable, whatever energy you consume, you have to kind of give it back. It has to be net neutral. Right? That's not the case. It still consume a really high amount of electricity and all that to produce diamonds. But it is far, far more sustainable than natural.
At least you're not harming the earth than doing that.
So it's more sustainable. It is considered to be more ethical. It's an open market, unlike natural diamonds, where it's kind of controlled by a few of the largest miners and the 3-4 of them who really control the largest supply of rough natural diamonds. Over here, it's an open market. So you have thousands of guys who put up factories and are selling, which also, the pros and cons of that, of course. But it's an open market, so then it's whoever can offer you the best quality at whatever price.
I always wanted to understand in this industry, right? Exports has played a part in the past, right? When you say, I think Belgium or Brussels, then US work, Antwerp, right? US has been a massive market for exports. How is it for you guys when you are doing these designer rings? Is export a category that you guys are exploring? Are you planning something like that?
As of now, we believe there's so much of an opportunity here in India that there's no need to actually focus there. Plus, with all these tariffs and all, it's in fact become even harder, to be very honest. But for us, I think it was, I'm not sure if I got the number right, but it could be as low as 0.3 or 3%, if I'm not mistaken, of Indians who actually own diamonds. So you can imagine now with the diamonds becoming a lot more affordable, this is opening up a whole new addressable market for the country. And it's a huge opportunity. Right? It's seriously just focus here and it's massive.
Obviously people are paying power also, when it is absolutely 60,000, 70,000 worth of a ring or a jewelry or something.
Exactly. So anyone can, so full middle class will now be able to afford and play with diamonds. So we've chosen to just really focus here. Why divert attention? Maybe someday. Not yet.
Give me one example of your customer who might have, asked you to make some customized ring, and which was like a tough one, but at the same time, like ultra innovative, and which was like like your 5-star ring for you, guys.
Yeah, we had a customer, of course I will not name, so billionaire's wife, who had come to us, wanted to make something special for her aunt.
Mumbai based.
Wanted to make something special for her aunt, and something inspired by an eternity band. However, that aunt had lost her children, so wanted the initials of her children on that ring, but not like an engraving. It wanted like fairly big, and wanted, and her aunt loves sunflowers, so wanted sunflowers somehow incorporated into the band. So we took all of this. We took an eternity band design that we had. We took only half of that. So one half is an eternity band design. The rest of it is a simple gold band with sunflowers etched onto the band. And at the bottom of the band, the band was cut in the shape of 2 letters. So the bottom had 2 letters, big 2 letters, sunflowers, and then the top had the eternity band. And they put a little hidden gemstone inside, which was her birthstone. Wow. So it was a nice one. It just because I remember the meaning that it had for her.
How much time did it take to make?
It wasn't much. It was the ideation and the conceptualization which took time. The production is quick. Once you have all of that ready, it's about 10 days, 7 days, 10 days. But we did go back and forth quite a bit with her to kind of narrow it down to exactly this, because there was just a little bit of nuggets of inspiration which we had to put together.
Got it. Yeah. Bro, let's go to the last bit of it, which is rapid fire, right? First question. Lab grown or mine diamonds, which do you think will dominate the next decade?
Lab grown.
Lab. The most outrageous myth you heard about diamonds?
About diamonds? Outrageous myth. Shit, I can't think of any. I don't know. Just
about diamonds in general. Or maybe about your ring also, about your product. Any myth that you heard about your product?
No myth, no, not really. We've had a lot of people come and say that this is real, real. Oh, this is a really nice one. Oh, your diamonds sparkle too much. And this is very interesting because we need to tell people, listen, these diamonds are the highest color clarity that you can get with lab grown. You don't compromise, right? You usually just go for the highest because its cost differential is not so much. They're not used to seeing that kind of sparkle actually. Because in the you go to any retail store and off the shelf what you get is a much lower quality because that's what's a lot more affordable. The higher quality usually are ordered on request, customized. And so what we have is usually that. So when they look at it, they say, hey, this is sparkling too much. And then you have to tell them, listen, you don't come to a Mercedes showroom and ask for a Fiat. Right? You've come here, this is what we've got for you. So enjoy the sparkle.
Well, this is a problem, I think, in many stores, whether it's the larger brands or normal or family businesses, they have on the store, on the shelf, it is the lower toric or the lower grade diamond products in there. But when they're selling you, they always sell it to you as a, this is the best grade. I forgot ye kya grading. That time I'd done a lot of research, before my marriage and all. वो grading होता है, yeah, अलग clarity and all that stuff. I'd done a lot of research. And then when any store you go to, they said ये top notch grade का है. मैं बोला कि this not, मतलब ऐसा तो नहीं लगेगा top notch, आपका price तो reasonable है. So reasonable price में how you can sell the top notch one?
Yeah.
There is something wrong.
Yeah. So of course, for them, what is more affordable and what most people will buy is what they keep readily available on the shelf. And that is called an SiIJ, is the most commonly sold natural diamond. It's an Si clarity, IJ color. I'll give you one example. Colors start from D, they go to Z.
Got it.
Yeah, and D is colorless, right? And you're getting an IJ with lab you usually, and you know what we sell, we only sell E, F, D, E, or F. That's the bracket we operate. So people are not used to that kind of, whiteness, brightness, transparency, and the fire. But more important, what's not so nice is that diamonds are sold based on color clarity. That's what most consumers know. Instead, diamonds need to be sold on other parameters, primarily just on shine and sparkle. There'll be some diamonds which are fairly dead. They don't sparkle as much. And there are some diamonds will have some serious that scintillation, And
Gray color का भी आता है. In many diamonds it comes little bit grayish, so you don't see that sparkle. That whiteness is not there.
yeah, some people would say it's a little cloudy. So, in fact, the largest contributor to sparkle has nothing to do with clarity or what color has some role, but there are many other factors such as cut, polish, symmetry, angles, ratio, so many other things. And actually, that's why you also realize in some places the same diamond which has same color clarity but will be priced differently. And jewelers will know why could this one will sparkle more. But
And even in a ring or in a pendant or something, if you're buying, I mean, the bigger stone would have a little bit, maybe a little bit better sparkle. But then the smaller diamond pieces which are there around it, that would have probably lesser sparkle, or there could be some color degradation or something like that, which I've seen in real. And I found
your bigger stone will be certified. Your solid will be certified. So you will know exactly this is a BDS clarity, excellent, etc., etc., etc. The smaller ones, though, it's very hard to certify each one. So it's done. I mean, it's not as accurate to that extent.
got it.
But they give you a range that these fall in the VS category. It won't tell you VS1 or VS2.
But yes, man.
VS, it'll become like that.
Oh, so there is. Right. So, if you could give any historical figure or a celebrity a true diamond piece, who would it be and why?
So I don't know about a celeb, about a historical figure, or even a celebrity. We've discussed that quite a bit. I'll tell you one person that we're keen on at the moment. Some call her a celebrity, some call her an entrepreneur, but she's someone that definitely knows what women want, understands that, and is extremely passionate about it. And that's Parul Valaki. And there is Nish Malkin. And there is something very, very authentic about her. And unlike maybe a regular celebrity, she's very real, connects very well with regular people. And I think that level of honesty and authenticity is brilliant. And she's also crazy. She's as wild and mad, just like us. I think she'd be great.
But content is also very wild.
Content is very unique and as mad as us, right? So I think she'd be an interesting one to see in True Diamond.
Wow. So, gold, diamond, or crypto, which would you personally invest in for the next 10 years?
For the next 10 years.
And then investment.
I would do crypto actually. Is it? From an investment perspective, yeah. I would do gold. I was very close between gold and crypto. If you're thinking investment. But it's just that gold has rallied so much, and I think 10 years, next few years, I think it's still going to continue to hold very steady. But 10 years is just so much of uncertainty. And possibly with the way the US is going, they might want to legitimize crypto, and that'll help them. And if they're able to do that, crypto just suddenly becomes a lot more legit. But the way AI is moving and all of that, Web 3.0 will take over soon. So it possibly, maybe Bitcoin. I would choose that very closely along with gold, but crypto over gold. Well, listen, I'm not an analyst. I'm not a finance guy. Yeah. Please don't take my advice.
Acha, I was just gonna say that marketing se acha, you have good probably understanding of investment and finance also.
Yeah, because of your partner. Yeah, at the partner's job, I'm here to create beautiful jewelry and engage with consumers and have fun along the way.
No, absolutely. Wonderful. Lovely chatting up with you, Darayus. I think very interesting conversation. Products seem amazing, very innovative as we discussed. And, I feel that this is a category which is, of course, already exploding, but a lot more to come for this category, as we discussed also. I think India is really moving towards premium, luxury-based items, goods for themselves. And if something comes in a good affordable price range, then nothing like it for the middle class of India. Lovely. Thanks a lot for being on Level Up. Thank you. My pleasure.